to win the game, you got to score more goals.
There are few things in life that can...
Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche pregame show live from the Xfinity Studios. We got J. Mike and Rudo coming to you for another Avalanche matinee game. This time, the Washington Capitals in town to take on the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs lost 2 straight for the second time in 2 weeks. I don't know the exact date. Time eludes me at this point, but
yeah, 2 weeks basically.
Where do you stand on a game like tonight, J. Mike? Because on the one hand, you've lost 2 in a row. The Avs are objectively in one of the worst stretches of their season so far, if not the worst. But they're also 2-1-1 on the road trip, or on the homestand, rather, I should say. What qualifies as must-win territory?
I think it'd be hyperbole to call any of these games must win when you've got a double-digit lead in the standings. Yeah. You play 82 games, you're not going to win them all. That's just the reality. The goal is to try and win as many as possible. So I think it would be an overreaction to go quite that dramatic with all of this, but I do think now that, you know, you're 2-4 over your last 6 games, you're not trending the right direction after an incredible start. So it's an opportunity to hopefully, you know, get back on track. You've got 3 more games on the homestand, and that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Is despite the struggles, you still get to play the next 3 at home. Take advantage of this opportunity and don't put yourself in a position where you're headed to Canada feeling like, man, we got to figure this out or this is really going to turn into something.
Well, bad news already. Last minute, Val Nichushkin out with an upper body injury. Alex Barré-Boulet has been recalled at the last second to play in this game for the Avs.
So need a police escort from Loveland.
Get out of the way, traffic, or he's not going to make it for sure. It's going to be a tough road there. So the injuries continue to stack up on the Colorado Avalanche. We won't.
That's tough, especially being down Landy. And
you're now down 2 top 6 forwards properly for the Colorado Avalanche. Your life's not getting any easier at that point.
You're missing 2 of your guys who are just gritty. You know, like the offensive, you know, potency is one thing, but to lose the other stuff he does out on the ice, I think is where you really feel it already down, Landy. Just the dirty work along the boards, the transition work, the defense. I mean, that's a tough spot, especially given we're hoping to, you know, see them get it back on track here.
You essentially go from a second line of Landeskog and Nichushkin on the wings. I know Landy has moved around, but just for sake of easiness, Lecky's going to be playing on the top line today. That is now Colton and Olofsson, or
presumably.
Colton. Yeah, maybe Brindley.
Possibly.
Not that we all really like Gavin Brindley, but you're losing a lot of value in a top 6 when you're going from someone like Nichushkin to Olofsson or Nichushkin to Brindley. It's tough.
And you mess with the cohesion of your bottom lines, which at times have been solid for you. So, I mean, you feel that on multiple fronts.
And you have our common spirit injury report here with all of the normal injuries that were still on it, but also now Val Nichushkin added to it, and, you know, Logan O'Connor being in the mystery box of he's likely to return sometime this season, but not a whole lot on the injury front looking better, even if you do have a guy like Mackenzie Blackwood back, but which, by the way, Scott Wedgwood is starting tonight anyway. So I don't know. Things don't look great on the injury front for the Avs right now, but you can experience the difference compassion makes. Find a Common Spirit location near you and discover a new standard of health and healing by visiting mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit, official health care partner of the Denver Broncos. I was not expecting the injury news coming into this one, but the Avs got to figure out a way to make it work. At this point in the season, they're unfortunately going through a little bit of that meat grinder, but it's no excuse to go and drop 3 straight games. Again, if they did, the Avs can realistically afford it in the standings, but you want to separate. You want to prove that you're a better team than someone like Dallas, right? Dallas has lost, I think it's 7 of their last 9. They have 2 wins in their last 10 games. Some of them are overtime or whatever, but don't be that team. Be the team that actually can pull themselves out of the tailspin, get some wins. Look, I'm not revolutionizing anything when I say your best players have to be better, right?
No, I mean, they've got to perform, especially at home. You've not looked like the team that we've become accustomed to seeing, over the course of the year. And you would hope with a 7-game homestand, I think it's the longest homestand of the season. There might be one other that's on par with it, that you would be able to take advantage of that stretch. And no, these losses don't necessarily kill you in the present, but I just keep coming back to the idea of that's how you end up prolonging the season and having to play some high stress games, in late March, April, when you could potentially be chilling, I think, is probably the most ideal route, especially given the injury history with Landy and now Nichushkin, and, has had some stuff over the years. Maybe they end up going for the record if they're still in that position. We'll see how that plays out. But I would much rather be in a spot where you have the choice, right? Rather than, man, we were this awesome team for 5 months and now all of a sudden we're trying to hang on by the skin of our teeth, when if you're able to just do what you should on home ice, with Dallas being in a slum themselves, like, you have an opportunity here to extend this division lead past 15 points, which would be really tough to make up in 2 months.
You're pretty much done at that point. But this is more than likely coincidence more than anything. But we've now had Blackwood tweaked an injury in practice. Ross Colton had an upper body thing that certainly wasn't coming from a game.
Not that if it was, we didn't see it happen.
Right. And now you have Val Nichushkin pulled last second after a 2-day break. Who's to blame here? Is this simply just an NHL schedule that is too cluttered and crowded? And there's certain portions of the Avsosphere that truly believe that the Avs training team needs to be replaced. Why is this starting to rack up against the Avs?
I'm inclined to lean coincidence and just this being the product of a long season more than anything.
I would agree.
I just feel like you're coming to some pretty intense conclusions with probably fairly important lacking context to just come out and blatantly say this is on the training staff or something like that. I mean, it's not like I've been to a ton of morning skate or practices in my day, but from what I've seen, it's not like they're out there murdering each other. So I don't know. I will say when it starts to become that persistent of an issue, I do think you have to look in the mirror a little bit and reevaluate, see if there are some things you could change, whether it be your recovery habits or just the schedule. Sure. Maybe you factor in more stretching, more recovery time. I don't know. I'm not paid to be a trainer, but it is a little bit alarming to have this be kind of a trend here that's coming up pretty consistently.
Well, and it's perennial, right? Like, the Avs have been a top 5 injured team in the NHL for the better part of a decade. So it's like, there's a million reasons that could be. I asked you an impossible question.
I mean, it could just be like as simple as, there are people who factor in like the strain that altitude has on your muscles and stuff. I mean, there's probably some of that.
That's more of like a recovery issue than it is the actual injuries. But I do think it matters a little bit. Also, do the Avs happen to target players that just happen to be more injury-prone players? There's so many things that factor into that.
Do they just play too many games?
Yeah, you know where I stand on that, but we're playing more games next year, so that's not going to get helped.
It's like the NFL. Just keep adding. That'll help.
Yeah. It'll help your wallet. It won't help your
care
health.
about. Yeah,
indeed. Look, I don't think the Avs really can use even losing to Chushkin a minute before the game as an excuse.
You still have two of the, at worst, top 5 players in the world. You have 2 goalies who have been phenomenal.
Very
I mean, I if anything, I think the Taze stuff is probably more of an issue for this team's
100%.
competitive state than losing to Chushkin, but you have to take care of business at home here.
It puts the shoulders or the weight on the shoulders of, yes, the superstars, but also next man up. Ross Colton hasn't scored a goal in 15 games. It's time, buddy.
It's been now 15. I knew it was a while.
He has a decent amount of points. He started picking up a bunch of assists, but has not put a puck in the back of the net in 15 games.
Now's that you're never going to have more opportunities to shoot the puck than right now.
Yep.
Like, this is when I would love to see somebody like him or Brindley or whoever it is. I mean, all of them are probably going to get a little bit of extended run here, just given the situation, but take advantage of it. Like, there are times we talk about the top guys getting a little too cutesy. Like, I would love to see some of these grinders on the roster kind of look at this as now's my moment. I'm going to seize it.
Right. You have to take advantage of those opportunities. It's one of the key pieces, and we can take a look at both teams' stat lines here. I can't imagine the Avs card is going to continue to look this good with the injuries they're dealing with over this stretch. But the Avs are still a very good team. I'm not going to say any team would look as good as they have been when you have the losses that the Avs have taken over the last week or two. But you should be a team capable of absorbing those losses and still being a good team, still being a significantly better team than what we saw against Nashville. The other side of this is a team like Washington in a matinee game. We might be in for just a goal-scoring bonanza. I question whether that's true or not, but you look at Washington, a very good offensive team. They're very good at finishing. And they're really not that good defensively, but they're getting away with it because of Logan Thompson in net. They have a great goaltending that is kind of bailing out their defensive side of the puck. J. Mike, you've had enough experience with these matinee games now on the beat. Are we going to see sloppy goal scoring or sloppy ugly hockey?
I tend to lean ugly hockey in a 2 p.m. game. I would certainly prefer the former. Give me
it's more fun.
Give me a shootout if those are my only 2 options. Yeah. I mean, if I really get to be greedy here, let's get another 7-1 win or something. Shut them out 8-0. Why not? But yeah, weird stuff happens when you play games at these wonky times. I think that's just across sports. Like your body clock
it's off.
It gets off, and it's one of those I think you have to be really locked in. Although I will say, coming off of probably I would say the most disappointing performance of the season. I mean, maybe that's recency bias. There have been a couple here and there that have left you wanting more, but
yeah,
I would like to see the Stars come into this one pretty locked in, because it feels like the first periods in particular, they've had to kind of like play their way into a flow. And that's what especially has me a little bit worried with a 2 p.m. game.
Right. We've seen enough. I talked about this for the first 20 games of the season in the sense of,
excuse me,
the Avs aren't going to get away with this for the entire season. And then they did it for the first 40 games. And I was like, you know what? Maybe they're so good that they can. And then they lose some of those pieces and you're right back into that room of you can't do the stupid stuff. You will get punished most of the time if you do stupid stuff. Colorado knows how to do a better job of avoiding those mistakes. It's a matter of, hey, break some of those bad habits, do what you're capable of from minute one. We don't need to wait to the third period to see MacKinnon rev up the engine and get going. We don't need to wait for the third period to see Marty Necas actually start shooting the puck. These are things you can do from minute one. And when you do them, you won't miss the injuries as much. You won't mind that. You'll put yourself in positions to win. You'll force the other team to have to be in a tough spot instead of you digging yourself out of holes like you have so often, at least in these recent losses. Show what you're capable of, because I think we all know that the Avs are better than we've seen over the past 6 games. Yeah, you had 2 easy blowouts. Awesome. The other 4 games, not good enough. Look at any one of those individually and maybe you don't hate them, but all 4 together, you start to have a problem. Nip it in the bud now. You'll feel better about it. Washington's a decent team. There's no reason for this to be a trap game, right?
You wouldn't think. I mean, Ovechkin coming into town, and even beside, you're going up against a great goaltender, as you've already mentioned. I mean, this would be a game I would assume that would get the motor running a little bit. I mean, it's not a rival or anything like that, but it's also not whatever random Columbus, opponent you want to throw out there, that type of game. I would think that this is one you would like to get it back on track. It just kind of feels like the Avs are the really, really smart kid who coasted all the way through high school, even maybe like the beginning of college. And then you finally get to a class where it's, if I don't read the book, if I don't do the little things, I can't just breeze through it. There are times, even when you are incredibly gifted, that you've just got to do the little things. Do the little things, and this team's going to be incredible.
And I want to circle back to what you brought up earlier with that. And the Avs missing Devon Taves probably more than some of these forwards. Look, your D-core is in a bit of a mess right now as far as who's playing with who. You try Makar and Malinsky together, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. You're trying to avoid certain pairings of, if Manson and Burns are having a bad night, it's hard to play them together. You have a long track record of where do you put Sam Girard if you can't really put him with Manson or you're not happy with that. I've harped on MacKinnon a lot, I think, across the course of this losing streak. But really, it might be Makar that needs to step up more than MacKinnon.
I think this is one of those times where you would really like to see him be generational. And even saying it out loud, it kind of makes me roll my eyes because it's a pretty unfair thing to throw out.
It totally is, but that's the reality.
But when you are as good as Cale is, and I genuinely believe if you were drafting a hockey team from any of the players in the world, you can take one. Sure, MacKinnon, McDavid. I would take Cale Makar if you could only take one of the 3, just because of the versatility.
Defense wins championships, right?
But this is where you've got to see it, and there have been a couple instances where it feels like Cale's maybe been the one where you were like, especially he's got to close out on that better.
Side, yeah.
And that he's an all-world defender. So just, again, kind of avoid some of these little, I don't know, maybe mental lapses, and they're going to be fine. But it would be really encouraging to see him have one of those games where he's just locked down defensively. And again, if we're good and greedy, maybe pitches in with a goal.
Yeah, it's especially with your captain out, you're looking for a little bit of that lead by example, right? And the Avs defense will follow suit with Cale Makar. If Cale Makar is having a great game, everyone's life gets so much easier. If Cale Makar is having a good game, maybe you at least have a little bit of wiggle room to where they pick someone. If Solovyov's having a bad night, you can cut the minutes a little bit because you can run Makar a little bit more. It feels like too many times the Avs just can't afford anyone on their defense to have a bad night because Makar's not quite getting it done in the way you want. And then you stuck with having to take shifts of Brent Burns against their top guys. And
that's not ideal.
Right. You know what Brent Burns' limitations are at this point in his career. If you're asking him to skate with guys, you are in trouble. You know what the limitations of someone like a Sam Girard are. And look, some people hate him, some people love him. I'm not really interested in getting into that conversation. But you understand, if you put Sam Girard out there against a bunch of guys who are 6'4" and ask him to defend the front of the net, it's not going to work. So you have to be able to deploy your defense effectively. And I think it's difficult right now to to do that, especially if you're not getting superstar Kale.
Kale is the one guy that you think you could reasonably ask him for more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like...
Not a stretch.
Yeah, that's the thing about some of these other guys is their deficiencies are what they are, and the Avs are very well constructed and playing to all their strengths when they're at full strength, though, when they've got all of them. Now, all of a sudden, you've got Burns against some of these top guys, you're going to see the age, you're going to see the difference in speed there.
Sam Merlinski's having a career year, but you throw him on the top pairing against top guys, and you can't reasonably expect him to look as good. Like, that's just the reality. But
Kale's the one guy where you're just like, there is a world in which he's just better than everyone, and we haven't seen him be that
Not
guy.
Not often enough, yeah.
In a while. I mean, really over the last year or so, I just would say like he's been really good. He's the best defender in the world, but when you know that there's that next level, you're kind of dying to see it. Like, put it in fifth gear. We know you can go 120. Why are we cruising at 80 right now?
You need it. If not now, then when, right? The other side of this is the balance of the lineup. Depth actually thought at times played pretty okay in the Nashville game, but just couldn't find that finish. Drury, Olofsson, a couple of guys had great opportunities that didn't go in at the back of the net. While you look at your top guys to be the leaders and maybe the weight falls on their shoulders, there has to be a mentality of, I need to step up and I need to help this team a little bit right now if you're in their depth, right?
I think we just need more consistency is the big thing. It feels like with the depth production, it's either an 8-goal game and you're getting like 7 points out of those guys, or it's
like, just give me one,
not at all.
One a night. I don't need the
Can you give
crazy
me 1 to 2 a night?
Yeah.
just a little bit of consistency, because day to day what you're going to get, from the MacKinnons of the world, even Makar, as harsh, as we're being there. But can you just find some middle ground there? I think it would do wonders for stabilizing this team kind of as you work through this tough stretch, which it is a tough position. Like, there's no excuses, but it is a factor.
Realistically, when the Avs are in their best stretch of the season, you could expect that minimum: a goal from their first line, a goal from their second line, a goal from their defense, and then pretty regularly getting bonus goals from elsewhere, or maybe extra goals from your top line, whatever it might be. Right now, that second line, you basically can't count on anymore. Yes, I know Brock Nelson's still awesome, but with both of your second line wingers out, I don't think it's realistic to expect a high level of production out of that line anymore. So you need to find that goal somewhere else. The NHL, at the end of the day, most nights, it's a race to 3. And you end up with other nonsense that happens after that. But the team that gets to 3 first is very likely to win the hockey game. I don't really care where it comes from, but if you're balancing the lineup, that needs to come from your third line guys, your bottom 6 guys. The Avs are the most productive defense in the league. I know without Devon Taves, that's a little bit rougher around the edges, but you're getting enough production there, other than maybe wanting more out of Makar, that it has to come from somewhere. And that's either elite superstar games or your depth. And while you always want the elite superstar games, you've gotten plenty of those out of Nathan MacKinnon and co. As hard as I've been on them, Nathan MacKinnon has more 3+ point games than he does 0 point games this year. So yes, you want another 3-point game, but you also need to be realistic about, hey, we have some guys at the bottom of our lineup, and my expectations of an Ivan or a call-up aren't really there, but some of those veteran guys down there, a Parker Kelly, you'd love to see him get on the board. A Jack Drury, the scoring, while he's still career-ish pace, has cooled off quite a bit. So I don't think it's asking for the world to get 1 goal out of those guys.
Brindley, whoever it is, crashed the net.
Brindley's a great option. Yeah.
It's an opportunity for you to take advantage, and we'll see kind of if any of these guys are up for the task. I will say one guy that I've got an eye on in this one in particular feels like Leckie is so due.
Oh, you're telling me that.
And especially now without Nichushkin, you don't have Landy. And
there is some more need out of him now, for sure.
Can you figure it out? Because I feel like his his play has been solid. It's just the guy can't find the back of the net right now.
The shooting is a struggle. And those are the types of things when you talk about the little details, right? Little details aren't necessarily always the corner battles or the hardworking puck stuff. It's if you get 3 grade A opportunities,
score on
one of them's got to go in. Yeah, exactly. Like we're not asking the world for you to operate at 33% of your high dangers. I don't think at 5-on-5. Not all high dangers are created equal. We don't have to get into all of that, but Lecky's operational shooting percentage has fallen off of a cliff, and it needs to take a step up. A great shout out. I guess that's a good enough jumping off point as any to get into the crystal ball. Let's look into the future on this one. J. Mike, give me a score, give me a name. What's going to happen in this game?
I think it'll be a good one. I'm going to go 4-3.
Okay.
And why not? I'm going to say Lecky gets it done. I'm going to say he finally scores a goal today. I've done Nelson like 3 games in a row. I want to do something else.
Got to change it up occasionally.
And MacKinnon just doesn't feel like that fun. So let's go Lecky.
I like the Lecky pick. I said it was a race to 3, so I got to go 3-2. I got to go with that answer on that front. For the goal scorer, maybe more wish casting than what I actually think is going to happen. But after last game for Jack Drury, I think he feels like he's this close. So keep shooting it, and hopefully one goes in for him, and he gets you that depth goal that you're looking for. You'll take it however you can get it, is what I always say when it comes down to it. But there are things you would like to see. We can also jump in with my pregame picks, which are presented by Bet365, where things are never ordinary. I actually agree with J. Mike's crystal ball pick here. I did go with a Lecky goal. It just felt like time at plus 190. But I do, with Logan Thompson in net, and after last game, you would hope over the weekend the Avs have tightened the screws on some of their defensive lapses. I want to see an under. I want to see an under tonight and have the Avs keep it high and tight. And then, why not have the special teams make a positive difference with Brock Nelson on that thing, who seems to be the key for their special teams. You don't need it, but I think another one of those things is the power play, making the Avs' life easier with the injuries they're going through.
It just increases your margin for error. Right now, you've got more deficiencies.
Yep.
One of the easiest ways to offset that is to take advantage, when you are playing a man up. And same old song, same old dance. I feel like at times it feels like it's trending in the right direction, but the production just isn't consistent enough. So
it works right up until it doesn't.
Yeah,
and that's the
at some point you just have to score. Like we can hypothesize, we can credit you for process, but if you're not scoring, it's all kind of moot. So figure it out.
So go score, and you go score on your bets with Bet365 and the DNVR 365 code. Of course, when you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. J. Mike, winding things down here. Last couple of minutes of pregame. When you look at a team like Washington, when you look at a team out east, the Avs, obviously they don't really care about giving points away, but should there be some urgency from Colorado in trying to win a game in regulation here?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. I mean, I would ideally you win every game in regulation, right? But I think just not putting yourself in that position and having to play those extra minutes would be nice.
I just look at the Avs are in a bad stretch of hockey relative for Colorado. And honest, a lot of times common knowledge is, hey, a win's a win. You don't really care how you get one, you'll take one. But with the luxuries the Avs have in the standings, it seems like they might care about the process of the win a little bit more than a team that would be desperate in a situation like this.
I think more than like the individual outcome of a win-loss. I just think you want stylistically and like visually, like it wants to feel like Avalanche hockey, right? The outcome matters. Don't get me wrong. Like you got to win this game. But again, the results game to game right now, it's more big picture talk of you have a chance to really put this division away and save yourself a lot of miles on the tires down the road. But having lost 4 of 6, I would like to see them have a game. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean you're winning 8-0 or,
Right.
7-1.
It's
but
hard to take a lot from those games, right? But
can you grind out a game against a good team and win a 3-2 hockey game or a 3-1? That I think that would be encouraging, especially, these next couple of games should be pretty favorable for you.
yeah, you got some easy ones after
Beat the
Washington
good
coming
one
up.
and then take
from
advantage
there.
of the rest of the homestand. But just show what you're capable of against a good team.
I'm down for that. I hope the Avs can battle through. We're going to wrap up this pregame show. Watch along coming your way in a few minutes with Micah and I. Come join us for that. And then J. Mike and I will break down the whole game in the middle of the evening, matinee style. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, and we'll talk to you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.